let's look at this clip as we're talking about, and I think we're going to see this. We're going to see the attempts by the Republicans, by the Trumpistas, to the way that they're going to be able to deal with impeachment, or the only way that they have is through process, or simply saying, we have no quibble with the facts as you've presented them. It's just that what makes you think it's wrong to do this? And here is Matt Whitaker. He is the former acting Attorney General. I don't know if people remember, he was the one who stepped in after Sessions, and then everybody said, like, you can't have this guy be your Attorney General.
He had some type of hot tub business. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know if people remember it. I think was it like a multi-level marketing thing?
In retrospect, I think I would have rathered that idiot as opposed to Bill Barr, who is
without a doubt
significantly more intelligent, but equally, if not more, evil. But here is Matt Whitaker explaining his theory of the case to Laura Ingraham.
I really go back to that. They never saw him as legitimate. The insurance policy of Peter Strzok failed. Mueller failed. And now they're on to the next thing.
Well, and he's remember these global elitists, these careerists have made promises to and have set in place a world establishment that operated a certain way. And President Trump has asked questions like, why do we do this way? Why don't people pay? Why doesn't Germany and France, why don't they pay 2% into NATO? And these kind of questions, which again has completely upset the apple cart, he is being punished for this. And again, I'm a former prosecutor, and what I know is this is a perfect time for a preliminary hearing, where you would say, show us your evidence. What evidence of a crime do you have? I mean, the Constitution, sort of abuse of power is not a crime. Let's fundamentally boil it down to, the Constitution is very clear that this has to be some pretty egregious behavior. And they cannot tell the American people what this case is even about right now, because they have to do it in secret.
Yeah, and I'm reading this Bill Taylor opening statement, and my first reaction was anything that's 15 pages, single space. It's like someone who has to put their resume on 2 or 3 pages. That's never someone you want to hire, by the way.
Nerd.
Okay, first off, the idea that presidential abuse of power would not be an impeachable offense. I mean, it's not a specific offense. It's a category of offenses that you would impeach for. I mean, that's the whole point, is literally you have abused your power as president.
No,
therefore,
that's what the global elites would have you believe.
Yeah. That's the old world.
That's the old model.
Careerist right there.
Yeah. How many pages is your resume, Sam?
To be honest with you, I don't know that I've ever had a resume. But with that said,
that's an
with
alpha
that said,
move.
It is sort of stunning that they can only rely on the fact that it's single-spaced and 15 pages long, as opposed to talking about any of the substance in there. In other words, we've got a guy who is so detail-oriented, and Taylor apparently took copious contemporary notes, as apparently.
Yeah, because he's a tryhard.
He's just trying to impress people. This is something apparently like career diplomats do all the time, and I think he was particularly sensitive to what was going on, and decided to take these notes as a way of protecting himself. And the idea that this would be the way that they're going to impeach, it's like the ACA, they did the same thing with the Affordable Care Act. Like, it's 100 pages long. Who needs a bill that's 100 pages long? It's that type of thing. But that's a tough sell.
Globalist diplomats took notes. It's a new world.
You can't believe any testimony that has been typed out single space.
Let me ask you a question. You're going to trust somebody in a criminal proceeding who took notes about the crime? Please.
Meanwhile, The rats are really desperately trying to scurry off the ship, I think, and God knows, right? Exactly. God knows what is happening in the Pence home. Yes, Mother. It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time, Mother. Here is Mike Pence.
There's a lot happening in the Pence home.
Yeah, here's Mike Pence, also on Laura Ingraham, talking about how, like, he had no idea about any of this, but I stand with the president.
But there's no question that when President Trump said we were going to drain the swamp, that an awful lot of the swamp has been caught up in the State Department bureaucracy, and we're just going to keep fighting it, and we're going to fight it with the truth. I mean, the American people can read the transcript of the phone call the president had with President Zelensky, and they will see there was no quid pro quo. And with regard to Ukraine, we were standing strong with Ukraine against Russian aggression, where the last administration was only sending them blankets. We're sending resources, we're sending missiles, we're going to make it possible for our ally in Ukraine to be able to defend themselves and restore peace.
Were you ever uncomfortable with Giuliani's role in kind of getting involved in some of this? I mean, it's not against the law.
My involvement with Ukraine was all directly from my conversations with the president and, frankly, my conversations on the phone and in meetings with President Zelensky. And what I can tell you is that throughout all of that, we were focused on ensuring that the United States was standing with Ukraine for its territorial integrity against Russian aggression, and that we were supporting and encouraging Ukraine to deal with years of corruption and calling on European allies to do more to support the Ukrainian people.
So, in other words, I didn't do anything that the president didn't directly instruct me to do. And so I wasn't involved in any of this.
Laura, you'd probably be familiar with the Eichmann defense.
Yeah, exactly.
You in particular would probably be very aware of a certain trials that happened.
Yeah, I had no idea what was happening. And I have to say this, too, about Mike Pence, that in the event that we do get some type of impeachment and he becomes the president and has to run again, I find it hard to believe that people are going to be able to watch him talk for more than, like, literally 60 seconds. The guy looks like he's on the brink of crying every time he says something. It's very uncomfortable.
Much more uncomfortable. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen, but Pence would be obviously better to run against than Trump. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
I think so. And you know, all the concerns that people had a year or two ago about a Trump administration, I think we have had largely a Trump administration. I mean, excuse me, a Pence administration. We have the judges that Pence wanted. We have the entire agenda from the EPA to the USDA, the administrative state destruction. I think we largely have had the Pence administration during this time, but